Today, I would like to talk to you about factories as assets. The business owners that build the strongest supply chains are usually not trying to maximize a single order. They are thinking about future orders, thinking about the repeat order and the next season and the next 5 years, and the entire production system around their business. This is one thing I learned. Short-term buyers purchase products, but long-term buyers, they purchase systems. They are the business owners building assets. Now, long-term sourcing is a business strategy that leverages on this hidden truth. And that is, every sourcing decision can either be an expense or an investment. It just depends on how you look at it. And the next question then becomes, what or maybe who are you investing in? You see, both require the same exact capital allocation and money to be spent to purchase goods. But one turns suppliers into pillars that can protect your company in the future state. So, if the cost of goods is not the only investment, what is the real asset that we are trying to build? Most buyers think they are investing in inventory. They place an order, receive goods, sell the products, and repeat the process. So they focus on the visible numbers, the unit price, the ship costs, payment terms, and landed costs. Fantastic. Those numbers matter, but they are in a way incomplete. You see, behind every order is another layer that is harder to see and invisible to the naked eye. Trust, history, communication, problem solving, factory memory, and most importantly, the production system learning how to serve your business. Here I'm talking about a person-to-person connection with the factory. When you only think short-term, every order becomes transactional, not relational. So you may think you save money on the unit price, but in the shadows, you quietly paid another cost, the cost of starting over. And I call this the reset tax. You see, there's an emotional tax because every problem feels uncertain. There is a non-history tax, a no history tax, because a factory has no idea of your standards. A trust tax because nobody has developed a relationship with each other. A requalification tax because you have to prove again and again that this supplier can actually deliver. That is why I've said the cheapest decision today can become expensive over time. And in my experience, the real asset is the relationship equity around the production system that returns value when your business needs help. Over the years, I've seen relationships pay dividends in ways that a purchase order could never guarantee. In 2022, during the Panama Canal drought, we had to pivot quickly. Candy, she shipped our goods before I paid the final balance. She warehoused our boxes and organized factory workers to load the DHL vans so everything could move immediately. That was 10,000 boxes. This was beyond her responsibility, but she chose to help me. And in 2023, Alan trusted our relationship enough to delay both the deposit and final payment until the goods left China, helping us to manage cash flow. That order was over $100,000 US. In 2024, during Christmas time, Evelyn sent her own team 2 hours away by high-speed train to inspect our goods at another factory when production started failing. I didn't have to pay for any of this. It was simply out of mutual respect. And in 2025, Frank accepted responsibility for his defective board shorts immediately and airshipped them by Air Express instead of hiding behind the problem. Tony, our Tumblr guy, he turned around a rush order of 5,000 Stanley Cups in 5 days. I mean, these are not normal supplier services. They come from years of repeat orders and building relationships. And they will protect your business when you need it the most. They happen because both sides understand something really important. A rising tide raises all ships. When they win, I win. And when I win, they win. And that matters for business because it gives you people you can call, people you can trust, and people who will help you when something goes wrong in China. Short-term sourcing does not create that. So, how do you actually apply long-term thinking without falling for the cheapest price trap. We're going to use our M.A.P framework: mindset, approach, and progress. The old mindset is maximize today's order for the lowest price. The new mindset is maximize the lifetime value of the production system. This matters because sourcing is not only about the product in front of you, it's about repeatability, reproducibility, consistency, and problem solving over time. The core principle is do not evaluate only the cost of this order, evaluate the asset that this relationship can become. So, how do we do that? Well, there are 5 practical checks, and the first one is a fair price or lowest price. Are you willing to pay for a fair price that invests into the established expertise and experience of the factory? Or are you only thinking about the lowest price? Have you visited the factory to understand their systems, to have the confidence that the quoted unit price is in exchange for great quality and on-time delivery? The second check is repeat orders. Can this supplier become part of a repeatable system? If your first order goes well, can this factory support your next order? What about seasonal demand and future product improvements? You see, repeat orders communicate that you want to form a strategic and hopefully long-term partnership with a factory. And out of the thousands of factories in China producing this product, you have chosen them as your running mate. That helps. And the familiarity with your quality standards becomes quite clear. The more they understand your packaging, your quality expectations, your timing, your communication style, your customer needs, the less you have to visit China. It's one and done. The third check is, do they reciprocate? Does the relationship create mutual care and responsibility? When something goes wrong, does the factory hide, delay, or blame? Or do they take initiative to help solve the problem beyond the call of duty? Real trust shows up under pressure, not when things are going well. And when a factory helps solve problems, replaces defects, supports documents, or protects a deadline, that is clear evidence that the relationship has value beyond the invoice. The fourth check: are you building a network you can rely on? Who can I call when I need inspection support, logistics help, China customs, factory advice? Or what about just local guidance in China? Long-term sourcing builds a network, and that network can protect your business in ways you cannot always predict in advance. Now, how do we know if we're progressing? Here are some green flags that long-term thinking is working. The factory remembers your standards. Communication becomes faster. Problems get solved before they become disasters. The factory takes initiative without being pushed by you. Repeat orders become smoother, and people become willing to help because the relationship has history. And here are some of the red flags that you are still thinking short term. You are always chasing the lowest price. Every year you have to validate a new supplier. Every order feels uncertain. You have no relationship history to rely on. You are paying the emotional tax, the trust tax, and the reset tax again and again, year over year. Now, the decision principle is simple. Move forward with suppliers who can become assets, and slow down or stop with suppliers who only complete transactions. You got to be able to pivot when your relationship has no path towards trust, repeatability, or problem solving. Now, the shift I would like you to make is not just from one supplier to another supplier. It is from buyer thinking to business owner thinking. The old buyer completes transactions. The business owner builds assets. Because the real goal is not to just get one order shipped. The real goal is to build a supply chain pipeline that becomes stronger, more reliable, and more valuable every year. Every factory visit, every repeat order, every dinner, every difficult problem, every honest conversation, every WeChat text, every moment of trust builds that asset. And eventually, your factory is not just producing your goods, they are protecting your business. That, my friends, is long-term sourcing mindset. And this is the dollar way. Now keep in mind, short-term buyers invest in a single transaction and it's usually one and done. But long-term business owners invest in one great factory with repeat orders and then it's one and done. It begins to compound. So next time you can use this framework to evaluate your supplier. Do not only ask, what does this order cost? Ask what this relationship can become. And if you want to build a stronger supply chain in China, how about subscribing to the Dollar channel? Because here we do not just talk about finding suppliers. We talk about building production systems, relationships, and assets that can support your business for years to come. So your next step is, how about taking a look at the 5 steps to evaluate your factory's production capability up here.